All right, Coach. One more time, I just need to make sure it's okay if that we record this Zoom interview.
Yes, perfectly fine.
Liz, John, it's okay with you guys?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome. So I guess we can hop right in. The first question I have, just for everyone who's going to be watching the interview, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you coach?
And my name's Abdi Mohamed. I coach at CMIT North in Laurel, which is in PG County, and we're in 1A for state classification.
Awesome. Now, what sport do you coach? I know, but
Girls basketball.
girls basketball. Great. So I think that we have to start off. Obviously we don't want to talk about this because it's what everybody's been talking about, but we need to get your thoughts on what this pandemic has been about. How have you been able to handle it from a coaching side, and just kind of what are your thoughts on this really global pandemic that's going on?
It's been a tough situation. At first we made it to States and it got canceled. Everybody was disappointed. But then when you see the staggering number of deaths and things like that, it's just overwhelming. So then it really puts, basketball in perspective compared to life as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is, it's just a bunch of misinformation. You don't know what to believe, what's out there. But at the end of the day, it's better be safe than sorry,
Exactly. And it really goes to show that some things are bigger than sports. And, I don't like saying that just because I'm diehard sports. Sports are my life. And I'm sure that you were the same way. And I know Liz and John are. So with that being said, if we're curious on if you've been able to, I'm sure you've been in contact with some of your players, hopefully all your players. And if so, how have you been able to kind of keep them motivated during this time?
Just been telling them, stay in touch because most of them plan on playing, in college, want to play in college. So the main thing I've been telling them is, just at least run, conditioning wise. And if you can't get some shots up, but the main thing is just conditioning, just to kind of stay in rhythm. I know they're not going to get as much work as they would normally, but at least you want to get something in conditioning, them being young, and just that way they're engaged. Because most of them are trying to play AU if it does come back in August and September, like they're saying. Mm-hmm. So the main thing I just want to tell them, just make sure you guys run, stay in shape, just watch film from the year during the season too.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things about basketball compared to other sports. It's a game where you can practice on your own. You can put up 100 shots, 500 shots in a day. If you have the resources, whether it be a hoop or a ball, wherever. And with this social distancing and struggling to find an area or time if they don't have a hoop, I think that's a great idea, just to stay active and not kind of become a couch potato, as a lot of high school students decide to do.
Definitely. And that's one of the things, because especially if AU does start back in August or September, or even if the season, starts at regular time in December, you still want to be in somewhat shape. You don't want to be, that's the main thing that at this point, varsity level, I try to stress to them is we don't want to be in preseason doing as much conditioning. Mm-hmm. We want more open gym conditioning. That way you can play. But if we're focused on all the preseason conditioning, then it kind of puts you far behind as far as being in rhythm and getting to play with your teammates in open gym and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So now I'm glad that you kind of brought up AAU and when the season's coming back. So I kind of have a tougher question for you. If we put you in charge of kind of handling coming back or starting back up the season or schools in general, do you have could you maybe talk about a plan that you would try and
with the school season or AAU basketball?
I would say let's focus on the high school season. Again, I know it's a tough question just because, you're not in the position and we don't have all the facts and all the data in front of us. But I'm just curious on kind of a coach's perspective on it.
The good thing that kind of helps us is that we do start in December, so the fall sports are more in danger. They're really on the clock as far as football and things like that. But my whole thing is this, it's a safety issue, make sure everybody's healthy. And even a lot of places now, when you do go places, they're taking temperatures. I know China, for example, was trying to restart their basketball league and different things like that. They were saying that when they go in public places, they have like the electronic thermometers that basically scan. So they're testing things like that. And I think if it is possible to play, that is. But I think if sports do happen in the fall, it probably with no participants. I mean, with no spectators. That's the thing I think is going to happen, because even California recently just canceled some of their football season, like from Division IIs. So I think if sports does happen, and we might be lucky because we're further along in the season, there probably with no spectators.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thought at the high school level, because we can get by with on the professional level and even the major college levels just because sports are televised everywhere. It'll be interesting to see if it happens that way and we have no spectators, in the basketball season. It'd be interested to see if the state of Maryland can come up, PG County, if they can come up with some sort of streaming service that would make available for the fans. Be interesting.
Because I know next year PG County they're supposed to be streaming all the games. I know before the season ended, they came into the gym to see where the camera and stuff go. So I think going to next season, that was the plan for all basketball games, where it's something maybe like Baller TV or something like that, where you get a subscription and you could just stream the games. So I know they were in the gym looking at that. So if that's a possibility, the tools will be already pretty much set up in place for that.
Oh, that's awesome. I know I'm in Hartford County right now, and I know that they don't stream as much and not all the games, but they do have like a Hartford County like channel where they will stream. They'll televise games and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Now, I don't want Liz and John. You guys got anything yet?
Yeah, just real quick, kind of going back to how the season ended. Have you noticed, or from your girls, how the mood has shifted from this just like devastating just end to how they're seeing it now? Are they kind of realizing what's going on?
Yeah, because what happens, especially it was a delay. So we were kind of hoping that as that was about March 13th, 14th. We figured maybe if it was 2 months, 3 months, that if school did open back up in like May or June, since we only had 2 games left, possibly that they would maybe give us some time to play. But then when they actually came to MPS, it came down with the actual ruling that there'll be no spring and then no finishing off of the winter sports. I texted everybody in the group chat. Everybody was disappointed. But the thing, like I said, is all of them understand that it's a safety issue more than anything else. And hopefully the thing with them is just hopefully now looking forward to next year. I think pretty much they know they can't do nothing about it and just moving forward.
To piggyback off of what you were talking about, staying in shape and doing conditioning, have you been in contact with your players about what drills they can do so that they to best stay in shape, or just anything else that could help them out?
I've had some basketball drills that I had with them doing, even push-ups. But my main thing that I've been telling them is now that everybody has to do. You want to get under a mile under 7:45. So that's the goal. So I've been telling them just to kind of record their times. So that's what ideally you want to do. So once they get to maybe about under that time limit, then they could push 2-3 miles. The whole thing is it's not about running a mile or two. It's about the time of the mile. So that's what I've been stressing, kind of setting goals and certain numbers for them as they get there and get closer.
Well, that's awesome. Well, to piggyback off of that, do you have a favorite drill or something that you like to do at practice for the team?
Just run.
Run?
Because we do a lot of running. Like, one thing is, we're not a big school. So we only had, I think this year, 9 girls on the team. 1 was injured so we have 8. And we primarily play 5 to 6 as a whole. So our main thing is just staying in shape. If we stay in shape, run.
You have to condition with a rotation that small.
And we did a lot of good in the preseason. So we kind of maximized the preseason, got to top condition. Then during the season, we just kind of maintained that level. We didn't wear their legs out, kind of make sure days before games that it was more about getting reps up, shots up, and things like that rather than wearing their legs out.
Were you or are you a runner if you're –
No.
No.
I play basketball, so I understand the shape you have to be in. And also, the better shape you're in, less injuries happen. Mm-hmm. That's what a lot of people don't realize. The better shape you are, less injuries. Because a lot of times you get hurt, it's during when you're tired, you're fatigued, or, take a wrong step. Fatigue. So as long as nothing to the 15, 16-year-old girls, this should be the best shape you're in your life at this age.
Well, I think that leads us into this next question I have for you. What type of coach are you? If you had to describe yourself, what are some of your philosophies on coaching?
And just hard work and believing in yourself. That's the thing. I think if you put the work in, and my thing is I overcoach them as far as making them believe in themselves and confidence. Because my thing is what separates really good players from great players is just the confidence and the boost. And a lot of times with me, it's if I know you're able to do it in practice and things like that, make shots or do certain things, I want you to be comfortable, and I'm going to push you to do it in games. Just to have fun, love the game and respect the game.
Short and simple. I like that. You have to work harder than the competition if you want to be successful. Simple as that, right?
And I'm a hard demanding coach. And a lot of times they say I yell. And the only time I really get mad and upset with them is when they do something they're capable of doing and they don't do it, or they don't know where they're supposed to be at. That's one thing that we really stress. We go over knowing where you're supposed to be out on the court, on the floor, whatever is help defense or it's offense, things like that. And also what you're capable of doing. If you're capable of doing it, just show it, do it. And at this point, some of the girls, I don't know if you know, I've had them since middle school. So some of them, this is 5th year, some of them 4th year, and some of them, and then we really have juniors and sophomores on the team. So I've been around them for a while. So it's just that push, just pushing, and the comfort level with that.
Well, that's awesome. Now, you talked about it a little bit, but what do you try besides, the conditioning and working harder and, knowing, mentally being there on a daily basis, whether it's practice or games or even, off days? What do you try and preach to your players to create the best player that you can?
Just to believe in yourself and work. And another thing too is there's days, especially with girls, not even girls, just, different bodies different. So, there's things going on with them that's not going on with men. So I understand. And days like that, I tell them, just let me know. You're having a bad day or you're physically not able to go. And that way we just get the best of you. Because a lot of times I'd rather you not practice if you're not feeling your best or whatever, then practice and then have a bad practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then just,
It affects them mentally from that day to the next day. And then completely.
Do you have any pregame rituals you do with the team or traditions?
And no, the regular routine, regular warm up, and then the same thing we've been doing since middle school. 1, 2, 3 Tigers, 4, 5, 6 family.
There you go.
I love it. All right, I have sort of a fun question. So if you were, we'll call you a mad scientist, and you're in the lab and you're trying to create your ideal player. This can be physical attributes, or it can be different characteristics. With leadership or being able to motivate, things like that. Talk to us a little bit about your formula for creating the best player.
Somebody that loves the game, that's passionate about the game, and also willing to make. To me, the ultimate player is not about you getting your own, not getting the best of you, getting the best out of your teammates.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times, they say great players make other players better. And I really believe in that, because if you're really such a good player, it's not about you getting 30, 20. It's about you getting them double teams and getting easier looks for other players. So that's one of the main things, just loving the game, having the passion for it, and want to get better every day. If you want to do that, then I love that aspect of it, because everyone, even as a coach, I'm getting better every day. So as a player, if you're open-minded, you want to get better. And a lot of times as people want to work on their strengths. No, you got to work on your weaknesses. You still maintain your strengths and, improve them, but you want to work on your weaknesses. And a lot of times you got to be coachable, and, you got to take criticism. That's another thing too. A lot of kids don't take criticism well. And a lot of times people don't understand criticism is coming from a place of love. Because if you're doing something wrong and you're not playing a certain way, or you're capable of a certain way, and nobody's telling you that, then you're never really learning. So what's going to happen is when you get to college or a certain level, you're going to meet that reality of it, and you're not going to be ready for that situation.
Exactly. And especially from a coach perspective, I mean, these athletes, they need to realize that a coaches only want their players to become better players and, more importantly, better people. So that's the reason why, you might criticize them for not putting in their full effort during practice, during their conditioning. But it takes a while it's like you said, it takes a while for these high school students, these teenagers, to realize what you just said.
Yeah, and it's a mature issue, and one thing you got to understand too, sometimes I get frustrated, but they're 15, 16-year-old girls. Mm-hmm. I think this year we had the oldest person that played was 16 years old. We had 14-year-olds on the team that turned 15 in May. So, so they're still learning about themselves and find out who they are as a person and things like that.
Do you have any seniors on the team this past season?
We had one, but she tore ACL last year, so she didn't even play this year. So everybody else, plays starting roles coming back, and then we have a few coming from the middle school that are coming up to the program.
Well, that's kind of nice. I mean, I feel bad for the one senior, but at least it wasn't a senior-heavy team that ended with a pandemic,
Yeah, and even the pandemic is crazy, because I think before that, I remember Kobe ended up dying. Kobe had a tragedy with his daughters and teammates. And I was explaining to them, I said, the point I made with them, it was Kobe's daughter, Gianna, and 3 of her teammates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling them, listen, these little girls are about your age, a little older than you, were going to do something they love, and look what happened. I said, and that's one of the things I was telling them, tomorrow's not promised. I said, and it's ironic, about a month and a half later, all the games get canceled and we don't play. So a lot of times they don't understand if they're so young. So they don't understand that, they're just invisible, things can't happen. They'll play tomorrow. So I think it taught the kids in this generation that tomorrow isn't really promised for nobody.
Exactly. You
Would
need
you say that's the toughest? Oh,
that.
I didn't hear you say that again.
I just said exactly. You need to take every day and make yourself the best person you can be,
Yeah,
whether it's athletically or as a person.
and I think hope this time has taught us that, because it's a lot of stuff going on, and it puts basketball into the back burner,
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, hopefully next year we'll go back at it again, a little older team, and we'll get to the position that we were in this year.
piggyback a little bit about what you were talking about with your team being so young. What was the biggest challenge during the season having a team that young? What would you say the biggest challenge was?
It was just keeping them healthy, because what happened was in our conference, we played in the charter school division, so it wasn't that tough. So there's games that we win by almost triple digits sometimes. So we heavy load in the preseason, a lot of top teams. So what happens is when we get to that middle of the season towards like January, February, it's just keeping them motivating, also keeping them healthy, so we could have a playoff push. So it's just the main thing with them is just staying healthy. That was my main concern. Just staying healthy as the season ended, make sure that we're peaking rather than working downwards.
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about how your mentality and your philosophies on coaching and trying to make these girls better. Have you been able to take this time in quarantine and improve yourself, whether it can be coaching or personally?
Yeah, I watched the film of all the games and stuff like that. So just seeing certain plays, certain things, a lot of times when you see it in the game, you're seeing it from a certain angle, a certain perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're on defense or offense, you might be looking at more than the other. So a lot of times, so now I'm watching the film, watching the weak side help, see where the player movements, if the shot went up, where the person was, they box out, and things like that. So I got to break down rather than watching. Even during the season, we do watch film, but it's not broken down to every single play like I was doing. So that helped a lot.
I love that. It sounds like, and I think this is going to be true for a lot of people that we talk to, but it certainly sounds like you still have an itch for it. You're itching for it to come back, and I mean, like we said, we don't know when AAU is going to come back, and we don't know. Hopefully, the season starts on time, but hopefully that itch can drive you to be and create an even better team than you guys had last season.
That's the goal. And also I told the girls, you're never going to get this time again, because some of these girls, they've been playing AU since 5th grade, 6th grade. You're never going to get what? March till what? Now it's at least till August, 5 months where you're able to just work on your game.
Yeah.
Every time it's whether you're playing a spring sport or whether you have AU, whether you have games. You have 5 months of getting the best out of yourself. And you can, work on your weakness. You can refix your jump shot, retool everything, work on your dribbling, these next 5 months, you'll see who loves the game, because you'll see the improvement that they made. This is even on the college level, on the pro level, and things like that, because 5 months is a long time, and you can make a big turnaround in 5 months.
Absolutely. And I mean, especially, I think what's really interesting and what's cool. So these high school girls and these high school athletes in general, they're kind of getting a sense of what it might be like in college. So they don't really need to worry about sitting in high school for 7-8 hours a day. Everything's online now, whether that's a positive or a negative thing, but they're able to get in the work that they want to when they want to, basically.
Oh, definitely. And then also it shows who's willing to work and who wants to work.
Exactly.
That's another thing it's going to show, because I'm telling you, I was telling them is if AU does start back in August, you're going to have a quick turnaround. You might have a week or two of practice. If they do say August, if they say now they're aiming for August and September, because you figure we're still closed till June 1st, so I don't know how far they push it back. But even if you get a practice a week or two with your team, then you're probably going to go straight to AU.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing. You have to, at this point, the sense of urgency has to be there, especially for I have one junior next year. So I think she's working on every day. She's running about 3-4 miles a day. So she knows to stay ready, because at any given day, they could say in 2 weeks, we'll open up 3 weeks, and then AU starts right back.
Exactly. We got to be ready. I only have one more question for you, and I hope that John and Liz have some more, but I think I can tell from your personality, just from speaking with you for a few minutes here. I'm going to assume that you are really enjoying the Last Dance documentary on ESPN.
I like the Last Dance, which the Last Dance. But the thing is that people don't understand how hard he worked, because even if they haven't touched the point yet, but him, Pippen, and Ron Harper used to have workouts at my daughter's house before. They'd have like a full session workout, have breakfast, and then go to practice after that. So that's the thing that it doesn't really show the behind the scenes, because, you know, you'll see the game film, you'll see him talking trash, all this stuff, but you don't see the hours and hours and hours of hours that he put in. And I think that's what a lot of kids in this generation don't see. They'll see a bunch of highlight tapes or kids, you know, game video, but you don't see the 10 hours it took, tens of hours, of thousands of hours it took to get to that point. And that's what I think in this point that we're getting cheated out of. You know, they showed a little glimpse when he was doing the movie, and that he was, you know, movie in the day and he would go work, play at night and work out. But I don't think you really see the thousands and thousands of hours that he's put in to get to that point.
Exactly. I do agree with you. I don't think that they're showing as much as they could, but what I do like that they are doing, and, you know, whether it's him talking about it himself, you know, in NJ, or it's people talking about his work ethic, I think I know me personally, I'm a baseball guy. I'm a baseball player still, but it motivates me to go and get the work in, because he was so driven to not only be the best, but to, like you talked about with an ideal player. He wanted to get the best out of his teammates. He understood the importance of not winning, but being great.
Yeah, but even if you take, like, even say they were saying he was giving Scott Burrell a hard time. But if you look at Scott Burrell, Scott frames bigger than Michael Jordan. Remember, he was a first-round baseball pick, so he's a great athlete himself. But to show you people at that level, which are athletic as he is, that's where the mental part comes in. So it shows the separation of the top athletes in the world. He makes them look inferior, just mentally, and certain things like that. And I don't think people really see that. Because remember, he's not playing against high school kids or college kids. He's playing against the best. He was beating Hall of Famers, some of the top in the world ever that played basketball, and he's making it look easy.
Yeah, he was. And it's like you're saying, you know, it's his ability to be mentally stronger than the players on the court with him. And then when he's mentally wearing them down, or excuse me, when they are mentally worn down, he's still reeling to go. And his ability and the endless hours of work that he's put in to become the best then takes over.
Yeah, I think he came from that generation, you know, where he scared players. I don't think that generation really lives as much now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might be a little different. I think players were not getting good night rest the night before they were playing him. You know, I think this generation, it's not saying it's more friendly or buddy, but it's not as cutthroat, because he would have dinner with some of the players the night before and still score 50, 60 and would not be content, would still want more. While this generation is a little more content, I think, based or whatever.
No, I agree 100%.
I have a quick question for you. So for your girls, they kind of have you to look up to, or for you to motivate them. What kind of motivates you to keep watching all those films and getting ready for the next season?
No, I can't ask them to give the best of themselves, and I don't give the best of myself. You know, and then I always tell them, respect the game and don't cheat the game. So how would I look cheating the game? You know, not want to get better, you know, not want to get better as a team. And that's my responsibility. Their responsibility is to get the best out of themselves, and as a team, we'll get the best out of each other. But I'm the leader in that part, so I have to lead by example as far as, you know, what plays we run, with offense, with defense, working to our strengths and things like that, and kind of hiding our weaknesses as much as possible from year to year.
That's great.
All right, John, do you have anything? Any last thoughts?
Not really.
No. All right. Well, Coach, I don't have any other questions for you. Do you have any questions for me or anything?
And no, thank you guys so much. And also, I know I sent you guys the thing for my girls and stuff, and you guys posted. I said I was very, very helpful. You know, we're a small school, so as far as, you know, getting attention and things like that, that's kind of, you know, we're working more and more on that. But you know, one thing I tell them, as long as we're winning, people will come or recognize and things like that. And even I think the year we finished top 20 in the DMV in the Washington Post. So I think even next year we should probably be in the top 15 going to the preseason. And then I've already scheduled some games. We have a heavy loaded schedule. We play some of the top teams in the area. So that'll be really helpful.
That's great. Yeah, and that's like you were talking about with your preseason load, especially you know going through a weaker division in terms of a regular season schedule. Coach, thank you, and absolutely, we want to going back to when we recognize the athletes. I can speak for myself, and I can speak for everyone here at County Sports Zone. We don't care big or small school. We understand that athletes are everywhere, and they need to be recognized. And you know,
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. You know, I'd love to do this again. If you guys are doing this again, you know, let me know. I'd love to do it.
Awesome.
I was wondering if I could grab a quick photo so we can tweet it out.
Okay, no problem.
If that's all right with you?
Yes, go ahead. Perfectly fine.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Coach, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.